Peace, everybody. Welcome to the place to be. Come on in again. We're going to have another discussion on music. Welcome to Discussions with D Wiz. I am D Wiz, and we're going to speak today about hip hop. We're going to speak about DJing today. Today, I'm excited to have a personal guest with me. Before I want to bring him in, though, it's 2013, 2023, and as this year we are celebrating the 50th year of hip hop. A lot has been focused on the DJ. Big shout to DJ Kool Herc, who they say started hip hop in the Bronx in 1973. In the early 70s, I was 3 years old during that time. And we're gonna continue this conversation. I want to have a great conversation with a good buddy of mine that many of you guys may have seen him on TV. Youngsters may have seen him on TV from growing up hip hop. You may know him from seeing him with Run DMC, the big iconic group. Also know him from being the DJ with the Beastie Boys as well. I know him as being a DJ peer of mine's inside the business, and he's a wealth of knowledge with DJ. So class is in session, everybody. We're gonna talk about DJing from the 70s, on how it developed today and where we are today, what DJing is. And actually, hey, in New York City, there is a conversation on what borough DJing actually started in and where it took place in. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome in and bring in my good brother, my man from another brother, DJ Hurricane. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
What's going on, Wiz? How's it going, man? Everything good over here?
Yes, indeed, sir. So I was telling the crowd and the audience, this is the 50th year of hip hop where everyone's celebrating. And I know you were even telling me you just came back from New York when you guys just had a big celebration of the 50th year of hip hop, right? Didn't you just participate in something?
Yeah, I was DJing at the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx,
Yep.
and had a good time, man. Played some classic joints, and we enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah. That's hot, man. Who was there? Did they have any like old school DJs that that we all grew up watching?
Theodore was there. Um, a couple of people came through. I was locked into DJing, but
Yeah.
have you been there yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
It's like a prop of what they're building across the street, which is going to be the bigger building.
Right.
So they built something across the street for fans to come in and see, get an experience until they're finished with the big building.
Right. So this is like the guest house, right? Until
Yeah,
they make
exactly.
the main. Are they going to transfer all the stuff that's in this spot now to the main spot, or is that going to be different?
No, that place is going to be gone. Everything from over there is going to go across the street.
Got it. Well, Hurricane, I actually want to talk to you today, man, because again, this is the 50th year of hip hop, and I myself as a DJ, I'm a fan of DJing. DJing has been like pretty much since my earliest memory of music. DJing has always been a part of my every step and journey of music. And we are celebrating our year of 50 years of hip hop. I've been studying and watching and unpacking where DJing, as we know it today, where it originated and started from. You have different actually forms of DJing. You have cutting and scratching, blending music. You have, DJing from probably your generation more than I. And I want you to tell the audience about that. DJing probably started out with having the biggest system back in the days. Am I right? Like, whoever had like the biggest sound system coming out was the hottest DJ. You want to talk to us about that?
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, the sound systems was the big thing. It wasn't about um, who had the dopest rapper or who had the dopest MC. It was about who had the biggest, loudest system that you can hear from blocks and blocks away. That's the way it started with the DJs.
Do you? What's your earliest memory, bro, of that? What you just said. I remember hearing music blocks and blocks away. How old were you, or what's your earliest memory of that?
I was barely a teenager, like 13 years old, and my early memories of that is block parties. You know, you take the garbage cans and you put them on each corner of the block or some kind of rope so that cars can't come down the block anymore.
Right.
And you set the system up on the block, and the whole block just have a party.
Right.
And in Hollis Springs, where I'm from, it'd be one block this day. The next weekend is this block, or it'd be four block parties going on at once, and who can draw the most people to their block party.
They were called block parties back in the day, huh?
The block parties, and and of course you had the park jams as well.
Right.
Then you had the backyard parties. You also had the basement parties. So that's where it started for me.
Now, Hurricane, I always say there's always a story before the story. We're celebrating hip hop now. The story as we know it, Kool Herc, started hip hop in 1973, Cedric Avenue in the Bronx, etc. But there's always another story before the story. Kool Herc, who comes from Jamaica, Jamaica, the island. We now know as people from our generation that the island of Jamaica actually does play a big part in music as we know it today, because music as we know it today actually does come from the hip hop DJ as we know it today. So I want you to take us back to, as you said, the park jams, the crews and the DJs that you grew up with during that time. I've heard of people like Grandmaster Flowers. I've heard of the Disco Twins. I personally knew DJ Lance, but I've heard of Master D and Pete DJ Jones. As you said, Queens was your area, and Queens, I'm from Long Island, it's not too far from where I come from. I did hear about these guys, and there is a story always before the story. So won't you bring us into like some of that stuff? Actually, this is even before you even meeting Jam Master Jay in the Run DMC days, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you talking about early, early music days. You're talking about the '70s for me. And me coming up as a kid in my house, I always had DJ equipment. It wasn't my DJ equipment; it was my sister's DJ equipment, and her name was Pat, and she had a boyfriend named D, and they were right on all the records, NYPD, on all the records. So it would be like New York Pat and D. That's what it would stand for. So there was two turntables in my house. I forgot what they were called, like the wooden ones, and they had a big mixer in the middle. And my sister used to always blend records back and forth. And the way she would blend it, she'd take her finger and spin it around and make it catch up to the other one so it comes on right on time. She'd go back to the other one and spin it around and make it slow it down or spin it around with her finger and make it catch up or speed up so that it's on beat. And we would have the headphones in the house would be like a telephone that you would answer.
Yes.
Yes, we had one of those as well. So as a kid, I used to always see this. I used to read the album covers that she would buy. Anything that came out, she would buy the latest record. And she would play plenty of house parties in the house, plenty of backyard jams. She wasn't out in the parks. She was more in-house parties and in backyard parties. You know what I'm saying? So, but there was no other female that was DJing at that time that I knew of.
Bro, you just read my mind. I was about to say, wait a minute, we're talking about before the Salt and Pepper era with the first DJ Spinderella.
Right. This was
a female DJ in the 70s.
Yeah, she's in the 70s. She was in the 70s before I even started my hip hop journey. She was DJing.
So, DJing at that time, what was DJing, Hurricane, at that time, early 70s, as you recall and remember it, brother?
As a kid, DJ at that time was somebody that knew how to get people together and form a party to have a good time. That's what it was all about. Could the DJ bring a crowd? Could the DJ rock a crowd? And that's what it was about. It wasn't about who was the fastest or anything like that. It was about, the DJ being able to rock a crowd. And then after that, then he started when they started getting into the parks and stuff like that, then it was about who had the loudest systems.
Right.
And it was about the loudest Queens. It was about the loudest systems. Everybody always wanted to know who got that system. Who got that loud ass system.
Now during this time, as you said, when a DJ would bring out the system to the park or on the block, was the DJ the guy at that time in the early '70s on the microphone, or did the DJ have a master of ceremony by that time? Was the DJ still, was he this guy on the mic, or was he only on the set and had an MC?
The first DJ I know to do it like that on the mic would be DJ Hollywood.
Yeah.
All the other DJs wasn't on the mic and getting crowd participation and DJing also. DJ Hollywood was the first person that I heard do something like that. So before him, no.
Really?
My experience and what I witnessed, I went
Right.
to DJ Hollywood.
When did you start getting into DJing? After watching your sister, she's got this equipment. She's doing this thing that I've never seen.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like I was DJing in my head the whole time
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't really get on the turntable. So I would watch like a little kid and watch it be done and learn just by looking. So once I see what she was doing, I kind of just locked it in my head. And then when she wasn't around, I would sneak over there and sneak by the turntables and turn it on and mess with it,
Right.
from what I'll be watching. You know what I'm saying? But I'll turn it off before she comes from work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I
but
I think that's how a lot of us started out actually sneaking. I was sneaking to my dad's. They would be called phonographs back then. Remember?
right,
And back then, a phonograph actually, as you know, Hurricane, it wasn't a turntable. Back in the days, Hurricane, you remember, we would have a stack of records, and that stack of records we would put on side on the spindle. Remember, on inside on the phonograph, and after the needle would play the record all the way to the end, it would pick up, go back to the top, and the next record would fall down.
yeah, mhm,
Remember those days of doing that, and then as you said, the DJ started to like just get creative. One thing that I say, Hurricane, to people, and this is one of the things I speak about with how important the DJ is to the world. Now, check this out. Hip hop, as we know today, is inside every form of advertisement and or influence in America or in the world. You're selling something. It's in movies. It's in television. It's in vernacular. It's in vocabulary. We grew up saying things like dope and fresh and stuff, and now that stuff, that vocabulary, is permeated in every culture of the world. So the way I look at it, Hurricane, is the DJ from the '70s went inside and learned how to hack the New York City power system and take power and steal power from New York City and power up the music. So that's called, as we call it today, a hack. You know what I'm saying? Now that type of engineering and being an electrician like that, bro, like that's some type of that's extremely high level of smarts in engineering. Hey, we could take, the power cord and then plug it inside here, etc. That was too early for me. I actually never witnessed that. Did you witness actually DJs out in the park? Because I'm gonna take it somewhere else after that, putting it inside the socket, inside the telephone, well, the light post.
yeah, absolutely. It would be 192 Park, 205th Street, Hollis, Queens. There's a light pole right outside the park that we would tap into the bottom and get the power and set the DJ equipment up right on the corner, right inside the gate on the corner edge. That's not far from the light. You know what I'm saying? So we
Right.
would tap in, get long extension cords and run it all the way to the DJ equipment, and boom, there you go.
Yeah. See, now, as you said before, we were all youngsters back then as well. Now, I'm sure you and a bunch of your friends and whatnot would get your money together and pull together, and this one would buy that, this one would buy the mixer, this one would buy records, this one would buy the echo chamber, etc. And that's
Oh,
how crews were made.
well, not for me. Davy D. I wound up getting with Davy D. Me and my friend Cool T, who later um did the Afros with me. We wind up meeting Davy D, and Davy D had everything. Only thing we had to bring was our mics. Not even the mics. Only thing we had to bring was our rhymes and join the crew.
Wow. Okay, so now you just went to another place. Davy D. Davy D straight from Queens. Shout out to Davy D. Big, 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 big influence. Um, how important is Davy D, brother, in this hip hop and Queens DJ conversation?
Woo, Davy's really
Yeah,
big in the DJ conversation, especially for Queens, because Davy was doing it like they were doing it in the Bronx style. Like Davy was scratching, and Davy had all the break beats that they were playing before break beats. What before people knew what the break beats were, before they started making those break beat records,
yeah.
what they called the first ones.
Super breaks.
Yeah, Super Breaks. Before Super Breaks came out, you had to know, you know, the Babe Ruth break from the song "Keep Your Distance." Like you had to search and know these, and these wasn't the break beats wasn't always like disco records. It was also rock records that you normally wouldn't play in a park jam or in a house party. These are just like 5, 6 second breaks on a rock record or what have you. Something that you definitely don't want to let play longer than the actual beat. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you
So,
brought that up. I have a question about that. When you say like rock records, like we would play Billy Squire, the big beat. We would take a break beat like that, and we would, like you say, we would loop it with our two hands. So my question to you this Hurricane. People talk about how hip hop is, they describe it as pretty much a linear thing. It's one way, right? Now, as you know, hip hop, and you're saying, hey, we took records from all kind of different genres, D, and we pretty much put it into one, like just pile, and we partied all night. Would you consider hip hop pretty much a combination of pretty much all music into one, Hurricane?
definitely, because hip hop is, we borrowed from everybody. We borrowed from rock, we borrowed from blues, we borrowed from disco, we borrowed from funk, anything that had a dope drum under it or an incredible bass line, we borrowed from.
Yeah.
So hip hop was mixed up with everything. We were able to take something that someone else made and turn it into hip hop.
So for yourself, how were you personally at that time record shopping? How was that experience growing up as a teenager when you say, what, we had to go record shopping and do this and come back home, and
Well,
during that time you experimented with record shopping. Am I right as well?
well, the funny thing is, no, as a young teenager, I didn't have to go record shop because number one, my sister had all the records, so she would go buy all the records. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then number two, after I met Davey, Davey had all the records, all the breakbeat records and all of that. So I was just checking Davey out. So between my sister and my house and Davey, I didn't even have to go record shopping.
Now, Dave, as I know, Dave, he's an incredible musician, an incredible music producer. Fat shout out to Davey D. You met him as a DJ?
Yeah, I met Davey in 192 Park, 205th Street, Hollis Avenue. It's now called Run DMC Way, Run DMC JMJ Way.
Wow. Uh,
Davey was DJing inside of the school, and me and my partner Cool T, another partner of mine, walked into the room where he was DJing at. He was cutting up break beats like crazy that we had never heard before.
right.
They wasn't cutting up those kind of break beats in the park jams that we were going to and stuff like that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
But we had already heard that style from listening to tapes that we used to get from the Bronx of like the Furious Four MCs, the Funky Fours. You know, we had heard that kind of style. So we seen Davey DJ and was just cutting up those little break parts. He was like, oh shit, yo, he fucking rocking. We gotta meet
right.
him. Yeah.
This is before records, before hip hop records, so to
Yeah,
speak.
this is before hip hop records. Yeah.
Before Rapper's Delight, The Message,
Yeah.
etc.
This is like what 77, probably like 77.
Right, right, right. Yeah, mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
During that time, so what got you? Did you start your own DJ crew at that time, or own hip hop crew that had MCs and DJs in it at that time as well?
Yeah, well, before I met Davey, we were already, me and my little crew, 10 us, we were already kind of like, well, I used to always write. All of the other guys didn't write. Um, so I had started writing because I had, like I said, I had heard Hollywood rap. So I had already started writing rhymes similar to the Hollywood style. You know what I'm saying? And my name I would write down was Winnie Win, which
Right.
my first and last name is Wendell Fight. So in school, my friends used to either call me Win, yo, what's up, Win? Or either call me with my last name, what's up, Fight?
Right.
So I figured, I couldn't be Wendell Fight, so I had to go with Winnie Win. You know what I'm saying? Because, back then you had DJ Hollywood, you had Woody Wood, the names is like that. But after I got a hold of like a Furious Four tape, and I heard the term MC Melly Mel, you know what I'm saying? MC Cowboy, what have you. I was like, wait a minute, I need to change my name. You know what I'm saying? So then I went and made up the name MC Hurricane. So,
Intro begins your MC career at that time because you were actually DJing before MCing from
that,
Sis, Big Sis.
yeah, I was actually MCing before I actually was able to DJ. I still got my first rhyme book right here, buddy. This is, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of blurry for you, but
Yeah.
this is, I used to date all my rhymes. You see
Damn.
that 44, 79, 79. This is my second rhyme book. You know what I'm saying?
Hurricane, what made you at that time as a kid know I have to save this stuff? What made you know I have to preserve this?
I have no idea. Like here, you see Winnie Win up top. That's Winnie Win. That rhyme was written in 78. So this is 79. Hurricane. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking I needed to I was dating it for a reason. In the beginning, in the front of the book, it says Hurricane,
Right.
Book 2, and Solo Sounds. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Short
How,
Sounds.
you preserved it.
I preserved it. It's crazy because out of all the times that I've moved from one house to another, this book always stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? I never knew that it would be what it is today. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I wish I had my first book, but at least I got my second one.
Whoa. I'm big on this. I'm big on the preservation of our culture and just of our life. And I'm on that right now. When we look at our ancient ancestors, for example. They preserved their culture. They preserved their writings. They preserved their kings. They preserved their lineage. And this stuff is here and accessible right now for all of us, to go and learn about ancient societies and things of that nature. And you know what, Hurricane? 1,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years from now, when this stuff is studied, they're going to look at us. They're going to look at you. They're going to look at the Run DMC era. They're going to look at the Beastie Boys era. And that stuff will be ancient and that stuff will be studied. So when I'm looking at you have your rhymes, you know what I'm saying, from when you were a kid, and you even have them like laminated, they're wrapped, they're preserved in the book. Like, I encourage everyone to do that, bro, about anything that they've done, especially musically. Preserve all your. Now, so in that case, I'm sure you got tapes also when you were young. Literally cassette tapes, right?
I wish I had all my solo sound tapes. I don't have any of my solo sound tapes. The only recording I have from Solo Sounds is a song that we recorded in Davy D's basement before um we had to record that probably like 79. I'm thinking maybe even before then. I gotta ask Davy, but I still have that recording. It's not a great recording, but I
Right.
still have it.
What solo sounds?
Solo Sounds was the group me, Davy D, Cool T from the Afros, another guy named MC Butterfly, Kippio, who wound up being the DJ for the Afros, Q Ski, another guy named Tough Ski, and another guy named DJ Guard. And we was Solo Sounds. We had Davy D was the DJ that would play all the break beats and scratch back and forth while me, Cool T, and Butterfly would rhyme, you know, freestyle like.
Right.
And then when Davey would get off the turntables, like Q Ski would get on and he'll play stuff like Love is the Message. And that's when DJ Garb would get on and he'll rap similar to the DJ Hollywood style. So when Davey was cut with scratch, me, Cool T, and another guy named Butterfly, we'd rap like similar to like the Furious Forward rap over break beats and stuff like that. When
Right.
Davey would get off, we would get off, and then Q Ski would get on and DJ Guard would get on and do it like Queen style. You know what I'm saying? Or rap. And the funny thing is, 45 King Mark the 45 King,
Yeah.
he moved to Hollis in the late 70s, I'm probably 70 79, and he moved in with his father for a period of time. And he went to my high school. And he had went around Queens and he was checking out all the, the park jams and everything. And when he ran into Solo Sounds, he was like, yo, I can't believe y'all fucking rocking like they do. Like your style is similar to like the Bronx, the shit that y'all doing. Can I be down? So I wound up going to Mark's house. We walked to his house, and I went up to his attic, his dad's attic, and Mark had two turntables, plastic turntables. I forgot what they would call BCR, BSR, or something like that, and a mixer in the middle. And he had 45s on the turntables. Mark was spinning back them 45s so fast.
Right.
I had never seen nobody do that. You know what I'm saying? Davey wasn't spinning back 45s.
45 spin fast in 33s.
Mark was spinning back 45s fast, and I was amazed. I was amazed.
You said something, you mentioned a record about Queens that I need to know, why is this record such a Queens record? What is Love is the Message? Why is that such a Queens staple record, bro?
Because people used to hustle off it a lot. You do your favorite dance off Love is a Message. Love is a Message come on, it's like if you was a guy, you had to have a girl that knew how to hustle. You could turn her around. Y'all be, the steps was incredible. That was like the hustle song that, couples will be battling on. Something about Love is a Message, man.
You have that, yeah, you're right. It does have that couple kind of vibe. Love is the Message. Because there's a lot of songs out during that time. First Choice was making a lot, of music, but there's something about when I hear Queens DJs, I knew DJ Lance, Tommy Allen, and these guys. When it comes to Love is the Message,
Love is a Message was that kind of style beat that, Queens rappers style, like a DJ Hollywood kind of style would rap over that kind of music. You know what I mean?
um, and that's what they all tell me about Love is the Message, that it has that couple, actually the two step. The way you see Chicago have the two step. Yeah, would that be like the same thing that Love is the Message has, that two step
Yes.
kind of vibe.
Two-step kind of vibe, exactly.
Right. Okay, cool. So we're at Davy DMX. We're at you also mentioned another name a second ago. Uh it just slipped my mind. Um I mentioned him, DJ Lance.
Okay.
And you said a second ago, you said about the Queen sound. Right. That's where I want to go, because I was watching a movie, a documentary that some friends of mine's put together. Hassan, my brother DJ Vern, DJ Wiz from Kid and Play, all these guys that actually come from Queens, and they talk about the Queens DJ.
Right.
And you mentioned also it wasn't about cutting and scratching back then. It was about going back and forth with records. And then we have two twin brothers that are called the Disco Twins that are
Mhm.
coming out with all of these other like body tricks and doing things. Now, you also mentioned to me one time when you and I were having a conversation about tricks, and you mentioned something about Davy D.
Right.
He has something called the merry-go-round, and you called it. You said he called it the
Oh,
cipher.
yeah, well, we called it the cipher. You know, is when you go in a circle, two DJs go in a circle, and you spin back fast, bam, 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 and then you're going around in a circle. You know what I'm saying? You spin it back fast. Now, um, me and Davey took that routine across the world in '87.
Right.
Right? Nobody still wasn't doing it like that, even in '87. Nobody was routining it around the world. But we used to do that every concert from the United States to Germany to wherever we went. We did that routine around the world.
Now,
And
the
that,
around the world routine for people that are listening, as you just described it, it evolved to what DJs would do. The Peter Piper, there it is, there it is. Next DJ, there it is, there it is. Next DJ, there it is, etc.
exactly.
Right?
So
And you guys are doing this. What year, bro?
now, Davey, I'm not the inventor of this. The first person that showed me how to do it was Davey D
Right,
in his basement. Yes, I got this idea. You spin back. First of all, you'd have to have two DJs that know how to spin back.
right.
I'm saying you don't know how to spin back, you don't, you can't say
You got to have
you.
the skill for it.
You know what I'm saying? And we're talking '70s. We're not talking 1980. We're not talking 81. We're not talking 82. We're talking 1978, 77. So when somebody said they did that back then, was you actually scratching in 77, 78?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Not 1980. We're talking about 78, around that
D,
time.
Davy D was scratching in '78.
Yeah, Davey D was scratching in '78. He was picking up the needle and dropping it on the dime. Yes, Davey D was like that. Yeah. And he showed me how to do it. I caught on real quick on how to DJ and scratch and everything because I was already on beat in my head.
Right,
So once I knew how to go doopy doopy doop and let it drop on the one on beat,
right.
it was I learned in no time.
So let's stay here. So your sister, you didn't see her. She wasn't involved with scratching. You never knew nothing about that. It was just playing records from back and forth, right?
Right, exactly.
Scratching Davy D was your first time seeing and hearing it?
Well, no, I heard it on a cassette tape that Flash had with the Furious Four when he was scratching 7 minutes of funk. Boom,
Okay.
boom, 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 boom,
Mm,
boom. I was like, damn, they was rhyming and shit. First time I ever heard a group rap together, MC together. You know what I'm saying? Other
yeah.
than that, all I was hearing was soloists with, Hollywood by himself,
Right,
Woody Wood, Eddie Cheever.
right,
So those guys were soloists, but it was never somebody scratching back and forth. And then you got three MCs passing the mic.
right. Yeah.
It was some kind of music that you usually don't play in a park jam.
So now the DJ took a different role on now. He's not the guy that's playing records for a party. Now he's like the drummer for a band. He's keeping
Yeah,
time for MCs now, right?
right. Yeah, exactly.
And
So,
you hadn't seen that. You're like, wait a minute. You're not playing records for a party.
right.
You're holding and keeping time. And at this time, as you're saying, Hurricane, a DJ would have to keep time for a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes while five or four MCs do their
Right,
thing.
right, exactly. Now, um, you know, that was like 70s, 77, 78. Sometimes I get my, things is happening so quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even with hip hop, you know what I'm saying? If something happened in April, next thing you know, in June, somebody else is on it. You
It's
know
a
what I'm
fact.
saying? You know how fast things happen.
Yes.
It ain't like somebody's 5 years behind.
Right.
Everything catches on quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we had a gig at Fantasia in Queens. It was Solo Sounds versus Grandmaster Flash. And the flyer said Uptown versus Southside. But we was from Hollis,
Right.
and they were from the Bronx.
Bronx.
And Curtis Blow was over there with them. You know what I'm saying, on the versus side. They had Flash, Curtis Blow, and on our side they had Davy D, Hurricane, DJ God, Kippy O. Now that day, um, Davy D and Kippy O did the cipher routine in the circle on that day. I
Against
was
Slash.
Yeah,
Ho.
they did the cipher routine because Kippy O's a DJ as well.
Yep.
So they did the cipher routine. I was there. Me, Cool T, um, we were doing our thing on the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. Matter of fact, I think I sent you that flyer.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm actually gonna post some of the stuff that you send me with your permission. So, and you mentioned like Fantasia. See now, this is Queens area. We're talking about was New World. That's also in Queens as well, right?
What'd you say? What's it called?
New World, right? Wasn't that a club also in Queens?
New World, New World, New World. Um,
Lance told me about that club as well. Tommy Allen, they were telling me they were DJ at these clubs. Fantasia.
Fantasia, yeah, Fantasia. Well, I'm from Hollis, so we would do the Night Fever. The Night Fever was on Hollis Avenue,
Okay.
and Russell used to promote parties in the Night Fever, and we'd be in the Night Fever rocking.
So take me to Hollis, brother. You had sent me something that's going to be coming out soon, and actually, this conversation is actually like a prelude, to a conversation that we're going to be having a lot in the hip hop community about DJs, the founding fathers of DJing and stuff like that. Why is Hollis such a special place when it comes to the community, well, hip hop and the culture of hip hop? Because we got Run DMC, I mean LL Cool J. There's so much that comes from Hollis, Queens. What was about it, that area in Hollis, that you guys had such a musical experience?
I don't know. People always say it must have been something in the water. You know what I'm saying? Because there was so much talent in the 2 mile radius, like 2 miles, sometimes less than a mile, very small area, and so much came out of there. Run DMC, Davy D, myself, LL lives a mile away, and Lovers down the street.
Right.
Um, Young MC lived down the street.
Young MC, Young MC.
Yeah, Young MC. Yeah, Young MC lived in
Bust the
Hollis Queen.
move.
Yeah, Young MC lived in Hollis Queen.
Wow.
All that, and then you had Q-Tip, and those guys were only a half a mile away.
Right.
What I'm saying? So everybody's in the same area.
Right.
Just so much came out of that 2 mile radius. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about Hollis was, if you wasn't from Hollis, you wasn't really trying to come to Hollis because it wasn't really safe for you unless you knew somebody that knew somebody to go into the park in Hollis. You had to be recognizable. So it wasn't like open doors to everybody. It's very territorial back then.
I got you. So we're at Hollis right now. So of course I have to go straight into the Run DMC era. Jam Master Jay, who is one of the biggest influences on myself and probably any DJ that grew up DJing probably in the 80s. You had Jam Master Jay, you had DJ Scratch. Even before that, you had UTFO, you had Mixmaster Ice, who DJ Coco Chanel and I talk about a lot. So tell me about meeting Jam Master Jay and his influence, in Hollis, Queens, and on you as a DJ. Because we're going to talk about some things he did that other DJs weren't doing at that time.
Yeah, Jay was definitely, I met Jay on 25th inside the park playing basketball. Again, everything goes back to the park on 25th Street in Hollis. So I met Jay in the park, and we became really good friends. We shared a lot of things, like both our birthdays in January. Mine's is January 12th, his is January 21st, and we're born the same year. So we kind of kicked it off real easy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we would bounce off each other like that. So we became good friends, and we wound up going to the same school together, and we had the same music teacher. You know what I'm saying? I draw interest, and once um once Run DMC um dropped a record, it's like that Suck MCs. They asked Jay to be their DJ,
Was
and
he DJing before then?
yeah, he has started DJing. Yeah, he has started DJing, and yeah, got a name for himself. And they reached out to him and said, "Yo, Jay, you want to be our DJ?" And DMC named him Jam Master Jay. Um, and then next thing you know, Run DMC blows up.
Was Jam Master Jay during that time that you just mentioned a part of like that DJ Queens community that you just mentioned? You guys going out in the parks and going out there in the block parties. Was he one of those guys during that time that was participating in that?
Yeah, later on, Jay started doing it in the '80s. Um,
That's still early.
yeah, he started doing it in the '80s. Um, with a crew called Two Fifth Down. Jay started rocking with them. So yeah, he started early.
Were you part of that crew, Two Fifth Down?
No, I was solo sounds all the way.
All the way, huh?
Solo sounds.
And Two Fifth Down, well, was Jay like the main DJ of that crew? Was it MCs or all DJs?
It was mostly DJs. They didn't really have the MCs like solo sounds. No, it was mostly DJs.
You guys had MCs.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
we had routines and everything. We had routines. We had echo chambers. We had it all. We had Davy D. Davy D was like our Grandmaster Flash from Queens, from Hollis.
right. So I'm going to mention another DJ during that time that's from that same area. So now you also had another buddy of ours that's down here in Atlanta, Phil Potts. You had DJ Cut Creator as well. That was LL Cool J's DJ as well. Was he also during that time in that Hollis area making his noise as a DJ as well?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know of Cut Creator. I didn't know. Not to say that he wasn't
Right,
doing anything, but I didn't know of Cut Creator back in those '70s or early '80s.
right.
I didn't meet Phil Pot until the LL days.
Right, right, right. Yeah, they did damage on some of those records, man. So now we're here, like you said, Run DMC asked Jam Master Jay after Suck MC's, yo, come and participate in this record. But before that, you knew Run, and you had like, you were dealing with Run musically prior to Run DMC and prior to them even asking Jay because Run, who was, as I've seen in the flyer you sent me, known as the disco son or the disco kid of Curtis Blow. He was Curtis Blow's DJ, right?
Right? Yeah, they called him DJ Run, son of Curtis Blow. Yeah, he was. That's how they built it. He was the DJ.
Now there's a Davy D, Run, and Curtis Blow kind of like connection or story around that time during
Yeah,
that you were kind of involved with as well, didn't he? Someone
yeah,
asked someone to go on the road and DJ, right?
yeah. Well, Run wound up breaking his arm playing basketball, and he couldn't go on the road with Curtis. This is right around the time Curtis dropped the record. So Curtis did plenty of shows with solo sounds, so he knew Davey was pretty nice on the turntables, and he needed a DJ, so he wound up asking Davey to be his DJ at the time.
You said Curtis Blow did plenty of songs with solo sound.
He did a lot of no, not songs. He did a lot of
Oh,
shows.
shows, really?
Yeah, a lot of shows like the flyer I sent you.
Yeah.
He's
You
on.
guys were that big. You guys like were on a Curtis Blow level because he was a big guy at that time.
Yeah, we did some shows together. So that's how Curtis knew Dave was nice.
Was Run rapping during this time that he was DJing for Curtis Blow?
Yeah, Run had raps as well too. Hmm.
Nice, man. So all you guys pretty much started out, hey man, we got our pen to the pad. We're starting as DJs.
Yeah, that's correct. A
So
lot of
Run is out on the road at this time. You stayed in Queens. He
yeah,
goes out literally with Davy D, right?
Curtis Blow and Dave.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, yeah, yeah. And you are home, you and Jay. Like Jay stays home. There is no Run DMC at this time. Am I
yeah,
right?
Right.
Were you guys practicing together? Did you and Jay have that type of relationship where, look, man, let's get together and put a few hours in of practicing DJing?
Yeah, we definitely get together and mess around a little bit. We were heavy in the streets too at that time.
Uh huh.
Once Davey went on the road, Davey had all the equipment and everything to do all the park jams and stuff like that. So once he went on the road, started dabbling in the streets a little more. Me and Jay.
Right.
So when Run DMC dropped, that was like the rescue. Okay, now Jay to DJ for you guys and
Right.
on the road. Get out the streets. You know what I'm saying?
So there's actually a story, not a story, but uh urban legend going around about the Run DMC, the Godfather hats, bro. How did that come to be? Could you tell me? Because I hear Jay had something to do with that, and didn't you go to school with him?
Yeah, me and Jay went to the high school together. And how the hats came about, I had an uncle by the name of Charles. Um, that used to always come to my house when I was a kid, and he'd wear these Godfather hats. And he always have on, if he had a black one on, he'd have a leather jacket with it. If he had a burgundy one on, he'd have a burgundy jacket with it. He always had the Godfather hats. I used to be a kid asking him, "Man, let me get one of them hats. Let me get one of them hats. Let me get one of them hats." And finally, he gave me a hat, and I put it on. And when I had seen Jay, he was like, "Yo, where you get the hat?" I was like, "My uncle." He's like, "Yo, I gotta get one." I don't remember how Jay got his, but Jay wound up getting his, and then we wound up, talking about when we was gonna wear it, and we wore it together during high school. We didn't wear it every day. Like we'll coordinate. We're gonna wear the hats on Friday, or we'll wear the hats on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Just to coordinate our shit. So
The
that
first thing you wore, what was the reaction, bro? This is interesting.
was the reaction.
Yeah, in school.
Man, we just thought we was just the most gangsterest motherfuckers in the school
Word.
back then. We just always dumb niggas.
You know, Hurricane, what is it about the Godfather movie and like Scarface that has such a big impact on us? That come from like urban communities or just the hip hop culture. What is it about Michael Corleone and the Godfather, that walk that he had, with the hat when after he, murked homeboy? What is it about that movie that
Man,
that affects us?
it's just the drama, the killings, the the uh, the honor, dedication,
Yeah, like the
all that.
roads to the riches kind of like, story, because I think Scarface, man, single handedly changed hip hop.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, so many references to that movie. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
you got
that's
a
what
rapper
it.
that calls himself Scarface.
Right. Once Run DMC came out with Suck MCs, then boom, that happens. Davey D is recording his record, One for the Trouble, and that comes out the same year as Suck MCs. So now I'm seeing that this rap thing is
Mm.
something that we could make some money on. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, we in the streets, what have you, and then '86 comes around, and Run DMC's recording. Before '86, of course, they recording their first album, second album. I'm there during the whole time. I'm going to shows, hanging out. But when they recorded Raising Hell album, that's the album that really took it to the next level. To whereas I was able to go on tour with Run DMC and Jam Master Jay and do a big world tour with them. And that's how I met the Beastie Boys, because they was the opening group for Run DMC. And during the tour, Dr. Dre from MTV Raps was the DJ for them. And they left him in a city and went on to the next city. And Dre wound up getting on the bus with us. And then when he got to the next city, he had quit, he quit DJing for him. He's like, "That's it. I ain't fucking with these guys." So they were stuck without a DJ. So they asked me to do it because they knew I knew how to DJ from the sound checks, with me messing around on the turntables
Run
and on the
DMC.
mic. So, at first I was like, man, I'm not DJing for these guys. They only had like 2 or 3 records, but they were kind of wild. They were throwing food and doing crazy, crazy, stuff that I wasn't into. But at the last minute, I decided to do it. Went on stage with them, had the hat pulled down, the shades on. I still wasn't crazy about doing
Because
it.
you was in the streets, you couldn't be seen with these
I,
like punk dudes.
yeah, I want some real cool velour hat, clean Adidas, the opposite of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? But together we are hip hop. So I said, let me help them out. You know what I'm saying? So I started doing it for them, started tweaking the stuff that they needed to do to make it better.
Right.
And next thing you know, um, they dropped License to Ill later on that year. Now,
Hurricane.
mind you, when they dropped License to Ill, my path was I was already affiliated with Def Jam and I was co-writing Davy D's album, Davy's Ride. So I was figuring I'm gonna co-write this album with Davy, or this album with Davy.
Nice.
I co-write this album with Davy, and after I finish this album with Davy, I'm gonna go on tour with Davy and get my name out there, as a dope MC, and then I'm gonna get my own deal.
Right.
But the Beastie Boys dropped License to Ill, and that shit wound up selling crazy
4
records.
million at that time.
And then they wound up asking me, can I still DJ for them? Because we was about to do, they was gonna do the License to Ill tour. Now the License to Ill tour was the Beastie Boys and Public Enemy was the opening group. Public Enemy had just started to come out. So this, I actually was the first dude to play Public Enemy song. First time people heard Chuck D voice on TV, national TV, was me. I had a boom box during the Grammys, and I had Time Bomb on the box.
And
And Chuck was rapping, and I played it out loud, and all the press and everybody was asking me, "What is that song he was playing? What is that song?" And I was like, "Public Enemy." They was like, "Public Enemy." This is before they even dropped their record. So
that was a college radio promo initially. I'm from Long Island,
you go, ooh,
so
when I jump in my car, people treat me like a remap dude, Jabbar, no matter who you are when I'm up the bar. But you go hip hop and ready to raw. I know that rhyme from the beginning to the end.
now before that rap got to be that rap the way you know it,
Mm-hmm.
it was another rap and song on that same beat that they would play every week on WBAU. See now, Flavor Flav had his own own radio show at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had Spectrum City with Hank Shockley and Keith Shockley and Chuck and those guys and Bill Stephanie and all those dudes, and they and that particular the Time Bomb beat. I
Mm-hmm.
remember Flavor Flav was on that beat, and there was no raps. That beat used to have just Flavor Flav on it, just popping shit. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And there was no Chuck D rapping and nothing like that. I'm sure I could. I'm gonna get that. I'm sure I can get a copy of that. But I remember that was a radio promo before it even became a record, bro.
I like to have that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't wait to talk to Public Enemy and some of those guys about the Long Island days. So now you mentioned a lot of stuff just now because you mentioned like how Beastie Boys approached you and the Raising Hell tour and things of that nature. See now here's the thing, Hurricane. This is the first time any of that stuff was going on for us, for hip hop. Today you have Drake. Today you have Nicki Minaj. You have, Migos, the Migos. And you have like groups and acts that, yeah, you guys going big and doing big world tours around the world and selling big numbers. That's common today. We're talking 50 years later, 40 years later. But during that time, when you were going out with these guys, like you just mentioned, Suck MCs, you said OD and then things blew up. Or you mentioned License to Ill and you mentioned and then things blew up. Before that, things weren't blowing up for us, for the hip hop community. There was no such thing as things blowing up. So Hurricane, how was that ride, bro? Like you were with Jam Master Jay and Run DMC from sucker MCs up until, like they said, we're big as the Beatles net right now. And like you said, I'm coming from the streets, D, and I'm involved with all this stuff, bro. How did you find your place in that, or even how did it affect you?
The funny thing is, like, it really finding my place in it. It was just like it was a given. Like it was like God just already planted it in my body. So once the transition was starting to get bigger, it was like it was expected. It wasn't. I was still humble. I wasn't big headed. It's just like a given, man. It's just watching it grow from nothing to something.
Did you know again when these guys said there's three of us, but we're not the Beatles, and they're comparing themselves to the Beatles? Did you know? Were you aware at that time? Wow, history is just being made right now, or was it like I'm just living my life and
Yeah, I
or did that
wasn't.
stuff come to you later? Like, wow,
Yeah,
I was a part of that.
it's like if I could read the future and see how big things would be, then yeah. But at the time, you just like, oh yeah, we dope. That's dope. It's just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be dope. You don't know how big it's gonna be. You just there for the ride.
Well, not how big it's gonna be. You were there when it was not gonna be, when it was there, when it manifested. And it still didn't affect you at that time, bro? Because we're looking at it as you guys as like gods. Like, it's a big.
Yeah, I don't
There was
know.
no one bigger than Run DMC.
I never was amazed with fame. Like, you know, I feel like I was popular anyway before the fucking music. You know,
Right.
Knew who the hell I was in the streets. So I didn't really, it didn't get to my head to be big headed. Like, look, I'm on TV or whatever.
Right.
It's
So,
just natural.
so watching your homeboy, watching a DJ peer of yours that was at one time, yo, we're boys, and you guys are still boys. You and JMSJ, up until his death, remain boys. But there's one time when you guys were equal in the DJ field as far as influence, and then you saw this guy become like a DJ god and a DJ deity right there from Suck MCs up until his death, bro. How did that take place? Because, like a DJ myself, we got a chance to watch it from afar, but you witnessed it up personal and close. Was that stuff planned? We're gonna make Jam Master Jay one of the most influential DJs.
Nah, you can't plan that. He got to have the skills to do it. You can always say I'm gonna sign this artist and I'm gonna plan this artist to be the biggest artist ever, but if the artist ain't got the skill, I don't care what you plan, that shit ain't gonna work.
Facts.
It was just a matter of him just knowing um, what to do and how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, Jay was the DJ that was scratching and also talking on the mic while he's scratching, getting the crowd participation. You know what I'm saying? Before that, nobody was doing that in hip hop. The only person close to it was DJ Hollywood, but DJ Hollywood wasn't scratching while he was doing it. DJ Hollywood would just get on the mic and do his thing and play records. Jay would scratch his name. What's my name? Jam Master Jay. A little bit louder, Jam Master Jay. He'll make the crowd say his name while he's scratching it. So before that, nobody had done nothing like that. So he was very original, very, very, very original with that. So that itself put him a notch above everybody else, being able to get on the mic and DJ at the same time.
Jam Master Jay had a short life. And I had several conversations with him about DJing, and I know he was actually having plans of starting a DJ school that we know now today as like Scratch Academy. It started out in New York. Being that his life was so short, Hurricane, and he put a lot of cuts and scratches down on a lot of records. If he had lived, do you know some of his plans or some of his desires for the DJ community? Would he have been that guy to have taken DJing to another level, even business wise? Would he have been a DJ activist that you see, like a DJ Scratches or something like that? Do you think he'd have been a participant?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think he would be. You can't tell what nobody's future would be or what they would be doing. You can guess, and I would say that he would definitely be heavy with the DJ Academy, Scratch Academy, definitely. The J was always into teaching, so I
He
think
was, yeah.
that definitely been a part of what he would be doing right now, besides other things.
I um I got sent some files from speech from Arrested Development to just recently to DJ and put some scratches on some of their records that they got coming out now. So when I look at growing up, my life listening to Jam Master J's, the DJ Scratches, the Mix Master Ice, all these guys, DJ Premier, and I think about what am I going to put down on a record to scratch? What pattern I'm going to do? Jam Master Jay is a guy that you hear these scratches that are went and like when like you were around. You had told me one time that you were around when he pretty much put down all these scratches on all of these
Yeah, yeah. I
records.
mean, I was there for most of the scratches, but the one that come to mind the most, because I can't go into every record and every detail. We'd be here all night. But the one record I can talk to you about would be Peter Piper. When I was there and they recorded Peter Piper and Jay was doing all the scratches. Um, by the time we left that studio, we knew that Peter Piper was going to be a big record. I
Damn,
remember getting in the car with Jay at the time,
damn.
and we had the cassette tape, and we played it in his car. We drove all the way to Harlem. We was in Harlem just driving when we got some food, and we played that cassette tape up loud, driving to Harlem. I think that night we might have went to the rooftop in Harlem. I think we went to the rooftop that night. We used to always go to Harlem to hang out a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a couple of friends up there, and I remember playing Peter Piper all night. We didn't get home probably till like 6 in the morning. Well, we played that record all night. Nothing else got in rotation for like 5 6 hours.
See, and I'm glad you're bringing up even Peter Piper because that's a big DJ record for DJs. I wonder when you say that. So I'm gonna get real technical. When you hear things like sa da da doom, sa da da doom, doom, and then it's inside the record, Hurricane. Cats weren't doing that stuff in records at
Right.
that time of DJing. They were just scratching inside or in a chorus. You remember it would be two MCs or one MC, and Jazzy Jeff would scratch inside a chorus, or Premier would scratch inside a chorus, etc. Uh, Bobcat and Cut Creator scratch inside a chorus, but Jam Master J, man, like you said, especially on that Peter Piper record, he was cutting while they were rapping, and he just did things that weren't being done at that time, bro.
Yeah, which that's what made him different than everybody else. When you do things, you want to try to do stuff that nobody else is doing. You don't want to be a copycat. You know what I'm saying? So, especially back then, biting was a really big thing
Yeah.
back then. Biting, if you was an MC or if you was a DJ, you don't want to bite nobody's style. Nowadays, everybody bites, but back then, that was like the death wish. You know what I'm saying? You better come up with something on your
Did
own.
Jam Master Jay come with all his cuts, or was that something like a collective unit that that Run DMC and Rick Rubin or Russ would say, "Hey, cut this record." Was that all his ideas, bro?
I mean, I would probably say most of it was his ideas. I can't tell you 100%. Somebody didn't say, "Hey, Jay, scratch this record." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I had 2 cents in as well. He would ask me for my opinion, and I'd tell him, drop that. That's dope. Or take that out. That one is dope. When you in the studio, you ask others in the
Yeah.
studio
True.
if this is good or should I do
Yeah.
this. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in the studio with other people that know how to make records. You always ask for an opinion.
You ever do anything on any Run DMC records during that time?
During that time, no, I didn't do any. All the scratches was Jay's, and Run and D. They wrote their own rhymes.
So you're a DJ. how do we get in that case now to? Well, before I introduce this thought, we have in hip hop, we have Bismarcky, who is a comedic rapper. Rest in
It's,
peace, my big brother and pretty much mentor in hip hop, Bismarcky. We have Who Redman. He took a little bit of some comedic stuff. We have Old Dirty Bastard. We have people that have put humor inside rap and making rap records.
right.
So now we come to the Afros. How did we get to the Afros, and how did the Afros come to be?
Wow, the Afros. Jam Master Jay got a record label deal with Def Jam, and he named it J&J Records. And he always wanted to put a record out with me. And at the time, Davey and Jay was kind of co-producing together. So my friend Cool T at the time, who used to be in Solo Sounds, he wanted to get down as well. So we just decided, first we decided to be the Untouchables. First we thought we was going to just be Solo Sounds. Then we said, nah, let's be the Untouchables. Then next thing you know, we just switched it to the Afros. Now the Afros came about because we used to always sit together and watch old black, exploitation movies like The Mac and Superfly and stuff like that. So we were really high on Afros.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Dashikis and the whole right black exploitation. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Black Panthers and all that kind of stuff. So then during that time, also it was a movie that came out called Hollywood Shuffle, and they had um, a scene in it, and the guys was called the Afros, and they were kind of talking with like a high pitched voice. So we decided then that we could just do the Afro thing, and we call it the Afros.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You brought
So
the idea to Jay?
what you said?
You brought the idea to Jay, or was that something that you and him put together to
I,
collectively?
well, I can't take all the credit for that. I have to say collab. We all collabed on it. You know what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
We all collabed on it, and that's how that came about.
Was that JMJ's first signing or first
Yeah,
release? The Afros?
that was we was the first group on J&J Records. Yeah.
Wow. Were you involved at all with the Onyx era or the Onyx discovery with JMJ Records?
No, I didn't discover them. No, that's all Jay.
But you, of course, were around during that time.
Well, right after the Afros um, album came out, after we went on tour and stuff, and then shortly after that, I wound up going back on the road with the Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys wound up co-writing for those guys a song or two on their album, um, and then I wound up going on the road with those guys again.
Yeah.
After the Afros.
Yeah.
So then after that, I did the thing with the Beastie Boys again. I recorded another album with the Afros, but it was never released. So after I recorded that second album with the Afros and it wasn't released, then I started writing my own album, which I always wanted to do anyway. So I started writing my own album on the Beastie Boys label, which is called Grand Royal, which is on Capitol Records. So I wrote that whole album, produced it with my man Mario C, and the album is
Bring
called
it.
The Horror.
The Horror. Did
Yeah,
it come out?
there we go, The Horror.
Did it ever come out?
Yeah, it came out. Yeah, The Horror came out. We shot a couple of videos for it. I did the lead single on Chris Rock's first movie, CB4.
Uh huh.
Yeah, the first single on that movie was my record.
How different is this stuff than the Afro stuff?
Totally different. Totally different. This stuff is way more hardcore hip hop.
Who helped you put this album together? Did you get like Davey D or some of the guys that you knew from around the way or
No,
in
no,
the
no, no.
business?
Album. I branched out. I moved to LA to record this album, and the only producer I used was Mario. Mario was the guy that was also producing the Beastie Boys at the time.
Right.
So Mario's a producer and an engineer as well. So I mean, I knew what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And I wrote the album and I recorded it and put a single on the CB4 soundtrack, which blew up. And then I shot another video called Elbow Room, which was a really big underground record. So from there, I wound up going back on tour with the Beasties again.
Man.
Except this time, now I'm the opening act as well as the DJ. So I'm coming out, performing and rapping, and then I'm going backstage and I'm changing up and I'm coming back out DJing for them. So I wound up going all around the world doing that. I wound up being the first hip hop guy to perform in Jerusalem and Poland because I
Damn.
was opening up. I was opening up for them. So
Right.
I was hitting the stage first.
Shit.
So I was the first
God damn.
to perform in Jerusalem. It's crazy.
Let me ask you a question, Hurricane. What do you like the best? DJing a party or whatever, DJing for an artist, rapping or and being an artist yourself, like the Afros or like the Hurra album that you were just talking about. What's your comfort zone out of all of these different areas?
To me, the easiest is me rapping my songs in front of an audience that knows my stuff. Sometimes when you DJ, you don't know what kind of crowd you're getting. You don't know what they want to hear. Do they want to hear what you want to hear? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got people asking you, can you play this or can you play that?
Uh huh.
You know what I'm saying? When you an artist, you performing, they ain't gonna be asking you all that shit.
Yeah, you're right. It's facts.
Well,
How
when
about
you,
DJing for an artist? Do you like that? DJing for groups like the Beasties and
you know,
stuff?
I've been on tour. I've DJed for Faith Evans on her. You know what I'm saying? Scratched on her record and DJed for her. Yeah, that's easy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? DJing for the Beasties is easy. Not for them. It wasn't easy because those guys was kind of crazy. So if I had Serato while I was
Hmm.
DJing for them,
Right.
it'd make my job a lot easier.
Correct. 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 Do you still go on the road with DMC?
No, no.
You used to DJ for him as well.
Yeah, I DJ for D for a period as well. Yep, DJ for D, DJ for Faith, DJ for um,
Beasties,
things, DJ for myself.
Afros. Were you the DJ as well? Because you were also on the mic.
Yeah, no, but I wasn't. I wasn't a DJ. I had Kipio, who used to be in Solo Sounds.
Really,
Kippy,
you brought a Solo Sounds member in, huh?
yeah, so he was the DJ for the Afro.
Man. Okay, so now after you came back off the road with the Beastie Boys, that's the third time, right?
Yeah, yes, third time. Mm-hmm.
The third time, right? Did you
Yeah,
get back into the DJing? Because now this is post Afros, this is post the Hurrah. We did 3 tours with the Beasties
probably I did more than 3 tours of the Beasties actually.
at this time that I'm at.
Yeah,
You
I
did
did.
about 4 or 5. You did a few.
I remember I DJ for them on the Raising Hell tour. I DJ for them on the License to Ill tour.
Right.
DJ for them on the Together Forever tour. Then I did shows with them for the Paul's Boutique album. Then I DJ for them on the Check Your Head tour. And then I DJ and also opened up for them on the Ill Communication tour.
I'm gonna ask a DJ Tech question. So is there a difference when you're playing for like a alternative hip hop act like the Beastie Boys? So for example, I'll get specific. When I'm putting together a DJ set for Salt and Pepper, when I was doing it, I would get songs that would target that audience that I felt that middle age or 30-year-old women would be into because they have a pretty much a female based group. I mean, audience. Did you do the same thing with the Beasties? Because that audience is a little different than Run DMCs or LLs, but
Well,
kind of same.
nah, not really because we always had a set list of what we were gonna do. And we wasn't going out the box too much. We were playing songs from the albums. That's what the crowd wanted to hear, songs from the albums. So we would do that. Sometimes I throw different music under what it was on the record. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like I was never DJing um like after the show, on stage or before they, come out. I'm DJing up there playing different songs. So we was playing what was on the albums. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
the only part that was a challenge for me with DJing with them was, they used to they started playing instruments
Instruments.
again, which they wasn't doing in the beginning with me when I was doing the other tours. They
License to
started
Ill,
playing
etc.
instruments again, so I had to scratch over the rock music, which sometimes I couldn't even hear my scratches because the shit was so fucking loud.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the earplugs back then. You had the headphones and then you had the monitors, but they stuff used to be so loud. I used to have a hard time hearing, what I'm doing. So that was a challenge. But other than that, after I did that tour with them, then I started recording another album on my own, and called Severe Damage, which I recorded Severe Damage, and I only released it in Europe and Japan. So I went on tour by myself, and I brought a DJ and a hype man out with me on tour, and I did Europe and I did Japan on my own. And by that time, me and the Beasties that went separate. I started doing my thing. They were doing whatever they were doing. I started recording the album. I got a record deal with TVT Records, and I did an album called Don't Sleep. And I produced the album, and I wanted to get different artists on this album. I wanted to make it different than horror. So I reached out. I produced a record for Public Enemy. Me and Public Enemy did a song. Me and Talib Kweli did a song. I did a song with Flip Mode Squad. I did a song with Coogee Rap. I did a song with Green Day. Um, did a song with Faith Evans. Did a song with Mr. Cheeks. Um, Don't Sleep. Yeah, this is it right here, baby. Don't
Nice.
sleep. Don't sleep. Boom.
Nice. Is that out now? I could find that on Spotify and things of that nature outside of the vinyl, the wax.
Yeah, you can get the wax. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, brother? Us as DJs being well, I know you have how you feel because you went and did it. You got DJ Khaled, getting MCs and making records. I remember in you and I's time, Funkmaster Flex would get MCs and he would have his own album and stuff. Today, DJs now do have a lane to be an artist and bring other artists to produce. Is that going to be something that we're going to be seeing from you also? Are you going to be doing more of that?
Um. Yeah. Well, I'm in the process of working with Mario. It's gonna be like the 30th anniversary of the horror album.
Uh huh.
So we're gonna go in. We're gonna remake the horror, and we're gonna add some stuff in there that wasn't released before, and we're gonna tweak the stuff that was released. So that'll be my next release.
Oh, and that's coming out next. That's. Oh, you
Yeah.
still releasing music?
Yeah. That'll
Are you
be
producing as well?
absolutely. Yeah.
Now you said you did some stuff for Public Enemy and Faith as well. You produce records for Faith and Public Enemy as well.
Well, for that particular album, yes, I produced both of the songs. I produced a song called "Freeze the Frame" with me and Chuck and Flavor on it.
Uh huh.
I'm doing the scratches and stuff, and the one with Faith Evans that I produced is called. We did a remake of a Cheryl Lynn
Got to
song,
be real.
"Two We Got to Be Real," and have Mr. Cheeks on it rapping, and Faith is singing.
Dope.
Yeah,
So, what else you got? Don't you also have something that's called Jay's Hat? That has a lot of activity. I want to know about that before I let you go as well.
yeah. Jay's Hat is something I created in my attic. Um, Kind of like taking you back to the essence of hip hop when DJs used to either be in their basement or in their attic scratching and having a good time. So basically, when Jam Master Jay passed, his wife gave me his hat in a box. So I used to always keep the box in my closet up top. And then one day, the first person that came over was Greg Nice. And Greg Nice, but I just picked up my phone and, you know, got the turntables
Rest is history.
Just started recording Greg Nice and posted it on social media. I posted it on Facebook, and it got a crazy response. So then, out of nowhere, um, CL Smooth comes by one day, and I says, "Yo, let's do this thing on social media real quick." You know, I got Jam Master Jay's hat downstairs in the closet. I want you to put it on, and let's do Down with the King. You can do your verse. He was like, "Yo, bet." So we did that, and I tried to make sure it was the same concept as when Greg Nice, because when Greg Nice first did his, Greg Nice is like, "Kane, why not just come up the stairs?" I was like, "Yo, okay, come up the stairs," and then I started playing the music. He came up the stairs. Greg Nice was hype. When I looked at it, I said, "You know what? I need to have everybody come up the stairs because it looks good." So then from there, I just started having everybody come over. Greg Nice, um, Positive K, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, um, Salt and Pepper, Lady of Rage, Daz Effects, um, Fife Dog before he passed,
Right.
like about 40 guests. And next thing you know, we got Jay's hat. So it's
You
dope. It's pretty dope. Hopefully, soon we can find the right place to place it on so everybody can see it.
you named it. Was that deliberate and specific, or did it just morph to be called Jay's hat?
Well, actually, I called it the Hurricane, right? I came up with the concept of Jay's hat for everybody to put it on. So then, a friend of mine, Jesse Isler, seen it. He was like, "Yo, Kane, can I partner with you on this?" So he came in as a partner, and then Def Jeff from back in the days, Def
Of
Jeff
course.
came in as a partner as well. So we all got together, and then Jesse was like, "Yo, maybe we should just name it Jay's Hat." And I was like, "Yo, that sounds kind of cool." And so I said we can come up with some logos or concepts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we wind up switching it to Jay's Hat inside the Hurricane. So
Ah.
yeah,
Right. 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 So now all those videos that you just mentioned, man, how many do you think you have about
I got. All depends on how you want to break them up. Shoot, I mean, each artist that came, they did about three, maybe four
songs?
songs.
Oh. Oh.
So probably got about 40 artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 You got. Yeah. So, and like you said, this is going to land most likely somewhere that you can share with the world.
Yeah. I mean, it's timeless.
It is.
It's
This,
time.
and it's like it accidentally just started out on social media.
Yeah, it was just spontaneous, man. It wasn't no plan. It was just some spontaneous act that wound up, catching some fire.
Damn, man. I look forward to that hurricane. So, man, thanks for coming and hanging out, bro. Um, like I said, I want to give everyone a class, a lesson about, I mean, just the history of the hip hop DJ as we know it today. I tried to cover as much as I can, and I know you sent me something that's going to be coming out soon that deals with the hip hop DJ and like the neighborhood that you come from, right? You want to share
Yeah,
that?
I
When is
mean,
that coming out?
I'm doing a documentary on Hollis, Queens, the beginning of Hollis, Queens, on how we came up and took over hip hop, this small area.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope, man. I look forward to that, bro.
Got that documentary going, and then I'm doing another story with Jay's son based on a series about me and Jay coming up as kids, and we both wound up being two DJs to the two biggest groups in the world.
Dope.
So there'll be a lot of street and music stuff in that series.
Is his is his son still DJing?
Yeah, he got two sons that DJ actually. Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, the one I'm speaking on that we would see on the TV show.
Oh yeah, that's TJ. Yeah, he's still DJing. Yeah.
Right, TJ. Did he do some with Run DMC? Right? I think
Um,
I saw him.
he's done stuff with them before on stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I seen him fill in for his dad one time.
Yep.
Scratch had done something really dope with him where he went to the studio where Jam Master Jay was assassinated, and did like a nice little video where he posts every now and then on social media, like I think like annually, on Jam Master Jay's anniversary. Um, yeah, it's very dope, man. So Hurricane, man, thanks for coming and hanging out, man. I hope that people that watch this, that they really get a sense on what the foundation of DJing in New York City, Queens era, hip hop as we know it today, DJing, how it's changed the world. And there is a story actually before the story, and I want to bring in someone that is certified that was there, and you were there, Hurricane.
Yeah, I was there. So I'm not I'm not there from the '60s. I was just born in the '60s. So when they start talking about '68, I'm like, can't argue with that.
See, brother, and that's the thing that why I actually want to have these conversations, because once you start digging, yo, Hurricane, there's always, bro, there's always a story before the story.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you look at these guys like Kool Herc or a Pete DJ Jones, these
The
guys,
stuff that the stuff that Kool Herc was doing, DJs was doing that in Queens with the sound system and stuff like that, and playing two records and mixing. Like that's not something that Queens wasn't doing. You know what I mean? The
right,
thing that Queens wasn't doing was the Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, the three MCs together in harmony, and he's scratching these break beats. You know what I'm saying?
right.
That wasn't going on like that in Queens. But
Did you guys, did you guys have DJs like did Davy D like have mixtapes that like those guys from Uptown have that went around the neighborhoods and went around the boroughs?
yes, Solo Sounds had tapes out. Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dope, man.
Bronx was more effective and sufficient with the way that they would put their tapes out.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah,
better promotion.
yeah, they had a promotion team, right? The Bronx Boys.
Yeah,
Well, thanks, Hurricane, man. I look forward to like seeing some more stuff. Everybody, stay tuned. Check out Jay's hat. My man Hurricane, you can check him out on social media. He
yeah.
is an official Queensbridge DJ, not Queensbridge, but Queens DJ, hip
Hollis
hop,
Crew, Hollis Crew.
Hollis Crew forever.
Yeah,
Peace, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be back with some more DJ talk.
yeah.